The most successful people you admire are not smarter than you. They just think differently, before most people even open their eyes. And what happens in those first quiet hours isn't hustle. It isn't a routine you'll find on any lifestyle blog. It's something much older, much darker, and almost never talked about out loud. If you've ever woken up with that low, quiet feeling, like the day already has weight before it started, you know what most people carry. You check your phone, you scroll, you let other people's noise fill the space that was meant to be yours. If you've ever felt like you're working hard, doing the right things, but still watching others pull further ahead, this is why. It isn't effort, it isn't even discipline, it's what your mind does in the window most people waste. By the end of this, you'll know the exact mental shifts that separate high performers from everyone else. Not the tactics, but the deep psychological patterns underneath, the ones operating silently long before breakfast. Stay until the end, because the last one is the mental pattern most people spend their entire lives unknowingly running in reverse. Most people believe mornings are for catching up. Winners know mornings are a resource, and resources can be stolen. Psychology calls this ego depletion. Every decision you make, every notification you read, every opinion you absorb drains a finite pool of mental energy. The research behind willpower, pioneered by Roy Baumeister, shows that the brain's capacity for self-direction degrades with each use. By evening, most people are running on fumes. Think about the last time you opened your phone first thing. Within minutes, you were reacting to news, to someone's opinion, to a problem that wasn't yours yet. You started the day in a defensive crouch, not a forward lean. Winners do the opposite. They treat the first hour like a walled garden. Nothing enters without permission. No alerts, no headlines, no other people's emergencies. Before you touch your phone tomorrow, ask, whose agenda am I about to absorb? Then don't touch it for 30 minutes. Guard that window like it costs you something, because it does. You've heard about goal setting, but high performers aren't reviewing goals before 7 a.m. They're doing something psychologically deeper. They're reminding themselves who they are. This connects to what psychologists call identity-based behavior. The research of James Clear and before him psychologist Charles Carver shows that we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our identity. Goals are outcomes. Identity is the operating system that produces them.
Imagine two people who both skip the gym. One thinks, I failed my goal. The other thinks, that's not who I am. The second person comes back tomorrow. The first one negotiates with themselves. Before 7 a.m., winners aren't asking, what do I need to do today? They're asking a quieter question. Who am I becoming? That single mental shift changes every choice that follows. Write one sentence in the morning, not a goal, a declaration. I am someone who, and finish it with the person you're building. Read it before anything else. This one will sound strange, but some of the most successful minds in history, from Marcus Aurelius to modern CEOs, practiced something that looks almost like pessimism. It isn't. Stoic philosophers called it premeditation malorum, the premeditation of evils. Psychologists today call it mental contrasting or defensive pessimism. The research of Gabriele Oettingen shows that people who briefly imagine what could go wrong and then plan past it outperform optimists in follow-through and resilience. Think about the last time something blindsided you, a criticism, a setback, a plan falling apart. You reacted emotionally because you hadn't prepared your mind. Winners don't wait to be surprised. They run the bad scenario quietly in the morning, then decide, if this happens, I will do this. That's not fear, that's armor. Each morning, name one thing that might resist you today, not to dread it, to defang it. Then write one sentence. If that happens, I will. You're not catastrophizing, you're immunizing. Most people are terrified of silence, and the world has been designed deliberately to make sure you never encounter it. Neuroscientists studying the default mode network found something remarkable. When the brain is given unstructured quiet, no input, no task, it begins making connections across vast, unrelated domains. It is in this state that insight, creativity, and long-range thinking emerge. The busy, noise-filled mind never reaches it. The average person fills every gap with a podcast, a scroll, a playlist. They call this productivity, but they're outsourcing their own thinking. Before 7 a.m., winners sit with themselves, and they let the mind wander in a structured direction. Not daydreaming, directed reflection. That quiet is where the best ideas they'll ever have are waiting.
Give your mind 10 minutes of nothing. No content, no input, just a single question sitting in the room with you. What am I not seeing? Sit with it. The discomfort you feel is the sound of a deeper intelligence warming up. You've made it this far. The last pattern is the one no one warns you about because most people never even realize they're doing it. It's the one that changes everything. Here is the thing most people never see coming. Every single morning, without knowing it, you choose a story, a frame, a lens, and then you spend the entire day finding evidence that the story is true. Cognitive scientists call this confirmation bias, but before 7 a.m., it has a more powerful form. Psychologist Martin Seligman's work on explanatory style, the way you explain events to yourself, shows that people with a pessimistic explanatory style interpret setbacks as permanent, personal, and pervasive. People with an optimistic style see the same setbacks as temporary, specific, and changeable. The events are identical. The lives they build are not. Think about the last bad week you had. The story you told yourself about why it happened. Was it about you? Was it permanent? Did it bleed into everything? That story wasn't reality. It was a choice you made, without realizing you were choosing. Winners make that choice consciously before 7 a.m. They select the narrative. Not a delusion, not pretending things are fine when they aren't, but a deliberate decision about what role they are playing in their own life. Are they the person things happen to, or the person who decides what things mean? That is the difference, and it is made in the quiet before the world gets its hands on you. Ask yourself one question each morning. What story am I about to live? Then choose a better one. Not easier, better, more true to who you're becoming. Write it down if you have to. The day will try to write it for you. Don't let it. You just heard 5 things that most people will never hear. Not because the information is hidden, but because most people aren't asking these questions. They're too busy reacting to have time to reflect. You're not most people. You're here. You're asking, and that alone puts you in a category of 1, the kind of person who chooses to understand themselves rather than just experience themselves. That is not a small thing. That is the whole thing. If this changed how you're thinking about tomorrow morning, there's more where this came from. Not self-help, not hacks, the deeper patterns, the ones that actually move people. Subscribe, not for this channel, but because the kind of person you're becoming deserves to know these things. See you before 7 a.m.